the fight.
Welcome into another edition of Box Office Quarterbacks. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are reviewing two movies, Roadhouse from the 80s, Roadhouse from 2024. It is Roadhouse versus Roadhouse, and it is
Roadhouse.
Roadhouses. Me, Jeff, and my friend Ahmed. Ahmed, both of us watched these movies for the first time. I think you watched the original first, then went into the new one. I watched the new one and went into the old one. Initial reactions, though, for both of these movies.
Okay, so the old one is cheesy, which, 80s movies, blood sport, and everything like that. We know they're cheesy, so it's acceptable. It's also quite tolerably entertaining for its time, and that's why it's understandable how it's a cult classic. Whereas this new version gave me Bollywood Indian cinema vibes, which is not a compliment. I mean, it's over the top. Uh, the exaggeration is crazy, which is very sad because I am a fan of Indian cinema. But it's moments like this where I'm ashamed, and I'm ashamed that I spent 2 hours watching this movie, the new movie, and I really hope to God it doesn't ruin Jake Gyllenhaal's career because he clearly worked hard on his body. He talks about how much he dedicated himself to training with an ex UFC fighter. So obviously he put in the work, took it seriously. And these people, whoever made this movie, everyone, I'm sorry, but you guys missed the ball really hard.
It reminded me of like a CBS show, like CSI Florida Keys or some shit. I don't know. Scratchy would agree with you.
She knocked over the microphone. That's how badly she
Yes,
thinks.
was not a fan. The Patrick Swayze movie is slightly better. Like I get it as a cult classic and everything. The thing I kept landing on though was why go back to the bar every single night if all this shit's gonna happen? Just go to a different bar. Like, yeah, especially in the Patrick Swayze movie, I think like they were just outside of Kansas City is where that one was set. So I do like Patrick Swayze more in the role of Dalton compared to Jake Gyllenhaal, and I like Jake Gyllenhaal, but there are things that one version of this movie did better than the other, and vice versa. How would you put the protagonists? Let's pit them together first. Patrick Swayze, Jake Gyllenhaal. Who did you think played the better uh, Dalton of the Roadhouses?
So I liked how they from the get go showcase John Dalton, played by Patrick Swayze, how they kind of show him to be this mysterious figure, but he's clearly a badass because nobody wants to fuck with him, nobody wants to take him down. And then 26 minutes into the movie, you do see him fight, but you get a glimpse. All you see is him just smash someone's face in, and you're like, "Oh, damn!" But in that first 3 minutes of the movie, you see him get stabbed, and he just like doesn't even flinch.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, okay, they don't want to fight him, but then they have to show him smack some people around, and you don't see him fight as much. I think you maybe see Jake Gyllenhaal fight 3 times in the like until the big showdown, which very much disappointed me. Why put in all that work showing off your body if you're going to give it to these new guys, these younger dudes, which is fine, but they didn't even flesh out their stories. So it was like, it's hard to even put them together because we got a chance to know Patrick Swayze's character way more. We don't even know Jake Gyllenhaal's motivation. They kept alluding to it with these random flashbacks, but you get to know who Patrick Swayze's character is way more. Even the whole "you killed a guy" thing. Towards the
Yes.
end, Jake Gyllenhaal just becomes full on Rambo. So
Yeah, he just straight up starts murdering people. I mean, so does Patrick Swayze, but I did not like the UFC backstory for Elwood Dalton, which is a stupid first name. But what does that even mean? Is he like a elf from Lord of the Rings. Like I have no idea, but it just makes the movie seem dated to me. And it obviously just came out, but anything it's like, hey, is UFC even going to be popular in 20 years? Like it's predating the movie before it even happens.
Well, but that's the whole thing. He's an ex UFC fighter, but he's still very much feared. So, like, what happened? Did he lose his job as a fighter, and this is what he's got to resort to? I mean, I'm confused. What's the big deal? And then the fact that the guy's like, oh, the internet, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, no shit, the internet exists. We can pull up
Yes.
anything. So, what does this mean? Like, is he banished? Should he be in jail? Did he beat the case? Like, and what about the person he killed? Because the guy's like the main villain who, God, I can't think of a more stupider villain than Conor McGregor's character, but
Oh my
also
god.
the main like billionaire, boat guy. Like, the,
That guy
I
was
thought
horrible.
I thought
He was
Kylo Ren
horrible.
from Star Wars was an incompetent villain. No, this guy takes the cake.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the villains. I do like Patrick Swayze better, but as Dalton. But let's talk about the villains because we're segueing into it. Uh, in the original, you have pretty much the same story. A guy who has control over the town. He's taking a cut from all the stores. This one, you have a guy whose dad is taking the cut from all these people in the town. He's running drugs out of the roadhouse, and I think Billy Magnuson is the guy who plays him. He is so over the top. Like he's obviously trying to do a throwback to 80s villains, but that part where he's on the boat and it's rocking and he insists on that guy giving him a shave was just the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Right, because it's making him look stupid, and he's not taking himself seriously. It's too much. Like, I couldn't tell you what genre this movie is. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it an action movie? And the fact that it calls itself an adrenaline fueled action movie, I feel is unfair. It's very, very, very lackluster.
Let's talk about Conor McGregor because holy crap, that was horrible. That is maybe the worst acting performance I've seen in the last 10 years.
And
He
that's
that is saying something.
Conor McGregor doesn't deserve this amount of hate. It's not his fault. I know he was trying his best. He was trying to play a psychopath. Kudos to him. But it just didn't work. It doesn't work because his including him is so random because it's not his fight. The fact that it's the guy's dad who hires him, who we never see, we don't even know why, his dad is pissed off. How does he know that his son is screwing up from inside a prison cell? You know,
Yes.
it's all so confusing. And then, spoiler alerts,
Yes, spoilers.
we're gonna save you guys 2 hours.
4 hours if you do a double feature like us.
Oh God, Conor McGregor ends up killing the kid anyway. The son, the pretty boy supervillain, kills him. So it's like, okay, so now what?
Yes.
Like he just goes, "You talk too much." Like, okay, so now what? And so, like, so Jake Gyllenhaal kills him for no reason. Like, why do they hate each other?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's I did like his death scene, Conor McGregor's, like where he gets the two pull sticks stabbed
Yeah,
like into him. I thought that was cool, but like I didn't even know it was the final showdown because it's don't see, here's the thing. Final showdowns happen at night in action movies. Like make it dramatic, make it happen at night. If it's the middle of the day, I was like, what is this fucking Tuesday afternoon? Like, what are we doing here? Like uh
yeah.
and I mean, I guess the final showdown in Roadhouse 1 is also during the day, but you're set in this creepy ass mansion of the main bad guy, and you're getting taxidermy polar bears pushed onto henchmen, and I like that better. And then the town comes in and start shooting this guy that's been terrorizing them for years. I like that ending a lot better.
Yeah, and it's also you understand why, and it's all fiction, it's all bullshit. So obviously there's no reality in it. But for the sake of time and daytime and all that, didn't his Sam Elliott, who could not have played a better supporting character, gets killed. So naturally, it doesn't matter what time of day. You killed my best friend, my
Yes.
surrogate father. I don't care what time of day it is. My second dinner, my second lunch can wait. God damn it! You know?
Yes. And that brings us, Ahmed, to our next category. If you're scoring at home, Roadhouse 1 wins both best protagonist, best villains, and now we're going to go to best supporting characters. Um, the thing that really stands out to me is there is no Sam Elliott in the Jake Gyllenhaal version. There is no mentor. There is no best friend to motivate him to enact revenge. And that's
Yeah,
really what held the second one back even more, in my opinion.
right. There were too many different storylines that were too hard to keep up with. Too many characters. I didn't. I also don't appreciate meta for the sake of meta. Like we understand that it's supposed to be a Western inspired movie. That's why we can appreciate the first Roadhouse. And the fact that they're trying to go, oh, this sounds like blah blah blah. Like, yeah, get on with it. Who cares? We've already signed up for this shit. Like Fast and Furious. Those action movies are supposed to be cheesy. Those death gravity defying, we know. You don't have to point it out to us.
Yes.
That's why I
Yeah.
didn't like Fast X when like I think we're superheroes because we never die. Shut up. Just drive. Just
Just go
drive.
to just go to space again.
Go to
Um,
space again.
yeah, like my wife pointed out that a lot of characters in the Jake Gyllenhaal version were like non-playable characters in a video game. Like he shows up in the Florida Keys, and the first thing that happens is the little girl runs up to him and starts explaining the history of Ernest Hemingway and the town. And I was like, where does this happen in real life?
Okay. And then he just keeps on coming back. Meanwhile, the dad's nowhere to be found. So why do these characters matter?
Oh, just so you could get that book. Like
Oh
they're
yeah,
like,
just of
here's the book. Take
course.
this
The
along
book.
on your journey. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like the supporting characters, even in the bar, like they have no personality. Like you said, like the other bouncers are better in the first movie, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna fire these guys because they're not doing their job, and like
And that's
it's
how
just
the yeah.
it's just two dudes in this new one. Yeah, and let's talk about the love interest
Oh my
because
god. Thank
so
you.
it's pretty much the same concept. It's Dalton has to go to the hospital after being stabbed. He meets the doctor who lives there and has ties to the main bad guy. Uh, I think the love interest in the first movie was better. I think
Yeah.
her tie to having her uncle being under the thumb of the bad guy was better than the daughter of the sheriff being corrupt or whatever happened in the
And the
second
sheriff
movie.
like works with the guy. But then like what was weird was if you I noticed this in the fight scene with the young bad guy and the doctor when she's trying to fight him. You because I have subtitles on. He's like, I told you, and she's like yelling at him. She's hitting him. It's like, do you two know each other or some shit?
Yeah, did they date on this one? Like they don't explain
Would
it.
make way more sense. I mean, I don't understand why that had to be a dynamic, especially whenever like the dad, who is later revealed to be the father, whenever he's like, you don't see his face; it's blurred on purpose, and then and he's just like, threatening him, blah blah blah. Do you have a death wish? And then he gets out of the car, and it's this big reveal, but it's like we don't know who he is.
It's just
This is
some
the
guy.
it's some guy. Oh God, it's that one guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like at least okay, Spider-Man Homecoming, when they did the villain reveal,
Yes.
when they open the door, when he's waiting and it's so sweet, he's got the corsage, and then he opens the front door and it's Michael fucking Keaton. you're like, oh shit. And that's the oh shit moment we have. There was no oh shit moment. There's just a what the fuck is this moment.
There is one supporting character that I do like better than the original Roadhouse, and that would be the owner of the Roadhouse. I do like Frankie better than the original Frank. I think she has more charisma, and I love that actress in Shrinking on Apple with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I think she's very charming because the original Frank is just some old guy who stands there creepily in the background and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, your bar is terrible because you don't do anything. You just stand there and watch all this shit happen. Like,
You don't have
say
to call
something.
Patrick Swayze. You could call what's that guy? John Tafferty from Bar Rescue, and he could fix
Yes.
this shit right away.
Yes. And the thing I'm thinking of with both these bars, I was like, wouldn't it just make sense if you opened earlier and closed earlier? Like if you did a 9 to 7 p.m. opening and then you're not open at 12 a.m. when everything's going down. I don't know. I'm I don't run a bar, but that's
Well,
just
and
me.
and I mean, it's just basic movie science. Mafia guys don't wake up until 8 p.m.
Yes.
So you catch them just in
They're
the middle of
basically
the night.
vampires.
They're basically vampires.
Yes.
But oh my god, no! And also, do people forget that guns exist in these universes?
Yeah, I mean a gun probably could have made these movies a lot shorter.
You
Um
know,
there's no like they're not patting them down when they're getting into the bar. I know that. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah. No, and that was another thing. At least in the first Roadhouse movie, you had guys there that like could hold their own. Whereas you've got these two guys like, wait, they know how to fight, or is he teaching them how to fight? I'm confused.
You know how hard it is to learn how to fight? You're telling me that these guys who have never fought before are learning all these moves in 3 days and they're remembering all of this shit? Like,
Yeah.
it makes no
Oh,
sense.
that guy has a knife under his shirt. Take a step back when he reaches for it and just pop him in the face. And then he does it, and it's like, does your fist not hurt or something like that? Like, I don't understand how
Yes.
this works.
Um, yeah. Before we get to our final ranking, we do have to talk about the setting of both these movies. They're set in two different places. One would be Missouri for the first movie, and for
Mhm.
the Florida Keys for the second. This is the only area where I think the second movie does win out. I do like the tropical setting. I like that Dalton lives in a boat. I love the crocodile attack scene, even though it's so
Yeah.
random.
Yeah,
I
I
like
think
the
it's actually
Florida
filmed
Keys.
in. I think it's actually filmed in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
If it is, that would explain the blue waters and everything because it looks very beautiful. I'm sorry, I don't think Florida looks like that. No shade to Florida, but I
Yeah.
don't. I'm pretty sure Florida doesn't look like the Dominican Republic.
That makes sense. I was like, damn, Florida's a lot nicer than I remembered it to be.
No, hey, we don't need Florida man coming after us in this
Yeah.
episode. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So that setting, I think like a beach set roadhouse, I liked a little bit better than like a Missouri whatever. I don't know. It just lent to more of the action sequences. So that's where I would give the second movie a leg up. But
Yeah, the cinematography is a little bit better. Um, the but that's kind of a given. We've got way more technology now, so if it didn't have quality shots like that, that would be a problem. But where it succeeded in cinematography and photographic direction, it lacked in original storytelling, character development, and just overall storytelling. I mean, good lord, what the like you had one job. Just try not to, do everything the way the original did. You had a good opportunity with the UFC fighter background, but what was the point in including Post Malone,
I
including this
forgot.
random? Yeah, what was the
That was
point in?
random as shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, like you could have done a lot more with a lot less, but you had all these different random characters. Their stories weren't properly developed. He's like, oh, I was just looking to find a library or a computer. It's 2024. How do you not have a computer or a a phone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
They
then what
never
is he trying?
explain that.
And
Like,
what is he
why is
trying
he
to
poor now?
investigate?
Like,
Right.
he lives in his car. Did he? It would have made more sense. It would be a 2 line throwaway thing where it's like, yeah, I went to prison after I killed that guy in the ring and I lost everything.
And I've got
2 lines.
nightmares from it all.
Yes. And I have
But
to run
no.
this scam at this bar and make money that way.
But he also got money from that experience too.
That's true.
So it's like,
I don't know.
okay, yeah. And she's like, I could pay you good money. But he's like, I'm only gonna live in this effing dump of a boat. Like, come
Yeah.
on. At
Oh
least Patrick
man.
Swayze was like willing to negotiate. He's like, 2,000 up front, 500 a night. And then how much does he pay for rent? $100 a month? Give me
It's a
a
pretty
break.
it's a nice ass barn too. Has a big
Yeah.
window though, so like they were like banging in that scene and I was like, they're gonna like close the blinds or something? Because that old man could just be down there.
They banged on the rooftop.
They did.
So,
Um,
oh, so we're talking about, the efforts that these two actors, Jake Gyllenhaal and Patrick Swayze, respectively, put on their physical well being. Patrick Swayze, broke a bunch of ribs and everything like that, especially during the final scene. Apparently, Conor McGregor actually punched Jake Gyllenhaal in the face.
that seems on brand. Yeah,
That seems on brand,
yeah.
yeah.
He is a crazy person. So
So it's like, this is not this should not be a stain on Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. Jake Gyllenhaal, this he's still an amazing actor. I really hope that people won't. We can forgive him for Bubble Boy. We can forgive him for this. God damn it!
I mean, if anything, this movie did prove that he could be a good Batman because he has come out in interviews this week saying, "Hey, I would still like to play Batman," and he almost was in Batman Begins way back when. So he has the physique. He is still a good actor when given the right script. I do think that he would make a good Batman. Him or Jensen Ackles would probably be top of my list, but
I think he would be good for a Batman Beyond, and let me tell you why. Patrick Swayze was 37 in Roadhouse whenever he filmed it. 36, 37. Jake Gyllenhaal is 43 now.
holy crap!
Right. But
Oh,
because Jake Gyllenhaal has incredible genes, he doesn't look that way. But that being said, I think Jake Gyllenhaal, if he just, dyed his hair a little bit, with like a little silver, he could play an amazing Batman Beyond.
yeah, just give him a good script, let him cook. Let's
Give him
talk
a
about our.
good script.
That's all he needs. That's all he needs. And Jake, stop accepting bad movies. Okay, don't do it anymore,
You're
Jake
better than
Gyllenhaal.
this.
You
You're
are
better
better
than
than
this.
this. Let's get to our final rankings of both these movies, Ahmed. I think I'm going to start the original Roadhouse, and I am going to bench the new one.
Oh, you're a lot nicer. I'll give the original a starter, but I'm going to cut the new
Oof.
one. And it's only because I could have gone my entire life without knowing this movie existed. I saw the trailer. The trailer lied to me, and for that reason, I will never watch another trailer again. He said probably, going to the movies in 2 days and saying, I can't wait to see the trailers of what's going to come out next.
Yes, man, those trailer editors, they really know how to get you.
They
Uh,
do.
they do. Um, yeah, I mean, if you have not seen any of these movies, you know what happens now, 25 minutes in. But start with the original, and if you want to waste 2 hours when you're sick home from work, maybe that's the way to watch Roadhouse 2024. Um, Anything else you want to add, though, Ahmed, before we get out of here?
Roadhouse. That's it. That's
Roadhouse.
it. That's it.
I just imagine Peter Griffin saying Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Scratchy. Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been a fun edition of Box Office Quarterbacks. We'll be back soon with Kong and Godzilla. That comes out in the next week. But I'm Jeff. That's my friend Ahmed. That is Scratchy. We will talk to you guys very, very soon.